Hello, and welcome back to Ask Dr. B. So today I'm going to answer another viewer question. I love this question. I love all the questions that come in, but this one's really thought-provoking and important, and also it's fun. So here we go. This is a question from Jill, and she writes, how do we live our lives with less fear? I was walking my daughter to school the other day. I saw our neighbor with his 4 kids walking them to school. His youngest is 3, so not yet school ready. The youngest was pedaling a bike as fast as his little legs could take him. He sped around the corner on the sidewalk without slowing down. He looked fearless. I mentioned to his dad, he has no fear. He's fearless. He said, yeah, he hasn't learned fear yet. That statement stopped me, and I've been thinking about it for weeks. How do I, as an adult, harness a bit more fearlessness like that of a toddler? How do I, as a parent, help my children learn how to keep their fearlessness? Wow, what a great question and what a great observation. So it really is about balance, isn't it? Because fear is wise. I mean, partly why we don't just open the door and let our toddlers take off into the neighborhood is because they are fearless and they don't recognize what they should appropriately be afraid of. And yet, it is true that as we grow older, we can become very fearful of things that maybe we shouldn't be so afraid of. And so it's that balance. How do we find that balance? I will say, this reminds me personally, I had the huge honor of being invited to do a talk, a TEDx talk, and the whole focus of the talk was on being fearless. And my good friend, Gene Case, was the host. Gene Case is one of the founders of AOL. And the Case Foundation hosted this TEDx program, and I was invited to speak. And then Gene went on to write a book. So I'll give Gene's book a plug about fearlessness. And so I had a lot of time to think about being fearless. And for me, again, it's about this balance. And it reminds me of a sort of a mantra I used to share with my daughters. And it helped me when I was going through a lot of difficult times growing up. I had a lot of trauma, a lot of loss, a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, which led me to my career as a psychologist and shaped me in so many ways. So I used to say to my daughters when they were facing something difficult, being brave doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you're afraid, but you do it anyway. So that's one element of learning, of practicing being more fearless. If we recognize situations in our life that we are fearful of, but when we step back and we assess them, we say, that is not something I should be afraid of. I shouldn't be afraid to speak my mind for fear that some people won't like what I have to say. I shouldn't be afraid to try something new because I'm afraid that I might fail. I shouldn't be afraid to take reasonable risks, whether they're, I'm not a big proponent of bungee jumping, but some people, or jumping out of an airplane. Our daughter did that in Australia. I wouldn't do it, but that's, again, at a different point in my life, I probably would have. So I shouldn't be afraid to live life big if I want to, because I'm afraid of, what others will think, that I might get hurt. Some of these things I've mentioned, bungee jumping and jumping out of airplanes, you got to weigh all of that, What is a legitimate risk? Again, back to the toddler and opening the door and letting them go out into the neighborhood. But often the things that we're afraid of are not things that are a danger to us physically. They may feel like a danger in the sense of, I might look foolish. Somebody might not like what I have to say. Somebody might push back. Maybe I won't get that promotion. Maybe my, daughter, son, husband, partner, friend might be angry at me because I speak my mind. Those are all things that cause us to inhibit, perhaps, prevent us from moving forward. And yet, they're not things to be afraid of. So, I think a key to being fearless, to living a more fearless life, is to do a lot of deep breathing, take a deep breath, recognize this is something that makes me uneasy. It's something I'm uncomfortable with. It's something that's out of my comfort zone. It's something that might cause me to be a little worried, a little uneasy. Can I be brave and do it anyway? I hope that that's helpful to Jill and to anyone else who's thinking about being fearless. It is about, one, being mindful of what the situation is and almost pushing yourself through it. I do want to respond to the second half of her question as well, quickly. Well, not too quickly, but I want to comment on how we can raise more fearless children. I think the same things all apply. It's helping our children recognize is something something that they're afraid of, something they should be afraid of, and is that okay? With kids, you want it to be balanced on the other side, which is just because your friends say let's go do something. If you are fearful, if you are uncomfortable, that's something to pay attention to and listen to. But on the other side of the equation, if you're a child, if your child is more reticent, more reluctant, help them become more mindful. What is it that they're worried about? What is it that they're fearful of? What's the worst thing that could happen? Will they recover from that worst thing? 99.9% of the time, the answer is yes. Will you be there with them, for them, no matter what? Are you proud of them for trying hard, difficult, challenging things? Yes. And remember that mantra. Being brave doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you're afraid, but you do it anyway. Kids like feeling like they've accomplished something that is hard, even if it's accomplishing and overcoming their own fear. So, Jill, thank you for that great question and that great image of that toddler, flying down the street, being fearless, with good adults, parents around them to make sure that they're safe, and how that might inspire all of us to push a little bit beyond our comfort zone, give it a try, give it a whirl, take that chance that's a reasonable, safe chance, be fearless. So I look forward to more great questions. Thank you for watching, and thank you for caring about your well-being and the well-being of those you love. Take care.